How to increase revenue for property management. And so, are you ready for America 2.0? Remember that millennials, they are slowly taking over the majority of the general population. And so their buying power is shifting. And so you want to ensure your office is ready with the latest online tools to acquire new properties and lease vacancies. Online leads, it's the primary driver for recruiting new business. They lead to acquiring more doors, filling your vacancies. And so do you have an online system to generate tenant and owner leads? So we're going to discuss getting more doors, because generally actually getting more inventory is going to attract getting more prospective tenants. So we found that most established management companies, they already recruit new owners on a monthly basis, just basically due to their normal presence. Many companies, in our experience, that working with top brokers, they all just attract general traffic through signs and different methods. And so your owner lead system should enable you to capture owner prospect information in additional ways. And so it doesn't matter if you have a few hundred leads, you need an organized way to capture and organize these leads. So your lead system should have the following: owner service request button. This initiates the owner to property manager contact. So most companies, they provide like an online overview of their services, but it's important, you want to ensure potential property owners have a clear call to action. There needs to be an owner services request button somewhere on your company site named either the request management proposal, rate my property, or management services. So a clear call to action on the company's website. It gives potential owners clarity on how to request your services. Owner request form. So when a prospective property owner clicks on your call to action, do you have a way to capture their information? And so many times owners call in, and normally staff is trained on how to take down their basic info, such as bedrooms or number of baths and phone. But what happens after hours? And so, these new generations, they're accustomed to filling out online forms. And so this should be a simple standard questionnaire that asks, the property details, contact, just basic info to be able to reach out to them. Your prospects, they're generally shopping around online. Even if they call your office, count on them to still be calling other offices and shopping around, whether if it was before or after they called. The information from property owner prospects can put your staff in an advantage position when competing for business. Code names for owner leads. Walmart, you notice sometimes you hear codes or you hear different protocols. And so this system puts all your staff in sync immediately. When you're in a department store, you hear that. And so do you have a system, the same thing for property management, for walk-ins, calls, phone calls, to identify them as a prospective owner? For example, one successful company, they designated all prospective owner calls as code 1. And so this instantly tells the staff, to take those calls as priority, since it's announced over the PA system, and they don't have to leave them on hold too long. And so many times offices lose prospects due to poor communication of incoming business. So prepare your staff with proper protocols, watch the difference of incoming business and how it's handled, and you'll see a difference. And so this tells your staff to be informed how to handle the call, be better prepared to answer questions immediately. Follow-up system. So you want to ensure that your follow-up system has two main things. One, designates who will be following up with the owner leads, and two, designates when they'll be followed up with. So many times companies, they have sluggish growth because they have failed to have an accurate accountability system for owner lead follow-up. So you want to designate an executive manager for new owners, depending on the size of your office. If this is not yourself, it should be, done by one of your experienced staff. Somebody, they need to be prepared to handle questions, objections, and just, be an overall people person in general. So prepare this person on how to answer commonly asked questions. And this is going to be, doing scripts and dialogue that you can practice with them. And so some examples. What do you charge? We charge starting at $75 up to $250 a month, depending on the plan you're on. Can I get some more information about your property? Do you charge for inspections? We do have property inspection fees that range from free to $95 to $125, depending on what plan you're on. Can I get some more information about your property? So CRM, this is Customer Relationship Manager. All your owner prospects, they need to be entered into your CRM. And so this should tell your staff how the lead came in, when the next follow-up time is, what's the next step to move forward. Notifies your staff so they have a clear visual of the next time they need to initiate contact with that owner. Remember, you can have all the owner leads you want, but if you don't have them organized and into a CRM, then your owner prospecting will not be to its fullest potential. So value services packet. So you want to provide prospective property owners with a packet of information that provides the value of all your services. And so it should lay out the reasons why your office is the best, what's the benefits of selecting your company over your competitors. And so we recommend you considering having two versions, a simplified online version and a digital version that can be downloaded or emailed. A basic version is going to be simple. It's going to be listed online. It's going to be a quick, summary of benefits about your office listed on the property owner page. And a detailed version, it's going to list everything in the basic version. However, if it's going to have additional benefits and information, sample forms, move in, move out procedures, utilized by your office, is sample contracts, direct deposits, inspection reports with photos. It's good to provide a sample, pictures of your office. A detailed version gives incentive for your staff to build rapport with prospects, since they'll now have this as a resource that they can email and follow up with prospects to bring the relationship a step closer. So prospect systems, this is going to be very important. So, when it comes to recruiting new property owners, just as with anything else in business, you need an engine, a system. It's an automated process that is always working in the background. So that way, if you were to go on vacation, it'll still be working and recruiting properties. If you're looking to aggressively grow your organization, you have to aggressively implement systems. And so these are all resources that you can go after. And so they're always going to be furbos, is what we call them, for sale, for rent by owners. There's always going to be furbos out there, which means there's always going to be opportunity out there. So you want to have a system that's constantly filtering and going after all these leads that are already on the market of people that are ready to rent their home. And so we recommend doing email and phone calls, but preferably starting with phone calls, and then you move to email and you bring that relationship closer. And so some examples. Hi, I work with ABC Realty. I'm calling about your property for rent. I would like to see if it'd be okay if we emailed you some information about renting your property while it's on the market. So if the answer is yes, and also, would you be interested in setting up an appointment to talk with our property management director to see what we can offer you? And if the answer is no, still get the okay to email the information. And so the goal of the call should be for your staff to build rapport, gather helpful information about the property owner, to make notes in your CRM, get their contact details, email address, so that way they can be put up on your FollowUp system. And the idea is to stay visible. So when the owner's ready to list their home with a manager, they're going to think of you. And so to make this more incentiveful for your staff, you may want to consider putting in a minimum production system in place, a bonus or production bonus, 5 properties increases $100 bonus for the month. I don't know, just ensure that you're following your state's regulations of whatever bonus system that you implement. So, so more examples is, hi, I'm Joe with ABC Realty. Is the property at 321 Main Street still available? Or I'm calling with ABC Management. Have you been able to rent the home yet? Can I send some more information to you to help lease your property? Have you been able to rent the home yet? And if not, are you willing to consider service? You may ask how long it's been vacant. May I send you some helpful information about renting your property? It contains a helpful checklist of things you can do to make your property easier to rent. And in the event you decide to go with the property manager, we would like the opportunity to rent the home for you. So the key to calling the furbos is just really showing up. You get better with time. And so our recommendation to you is hold your people accountable. Announce the numbers on a monthly basis. This would amount to 12 meetings a year, and you get your team involved, because they're the ones helping you talk to these owners, handling the incoming calls. And by not getting them involved with the company numbers, it's like having a football team and them not knowing the score of the game. So get everybody involved and moving in the same direction. So whether if you have one assistant staff member or 20, get them involved so they can help with your recruiting efforts. So example, having a meeting, and we had X number of properties last month. This month we have X number. What did we lose? Where can we improve? What are we going to do differently this month and ensure we can increase by X number? So when you give your people the tools and resources and give them the opportunity to prove themselves for your organization, this may surprise you. So tips on how to charge for inspections, help increase revenue. So again, I'm going to keep the webinar short today, but we do have a very comprehensive list that we've put together, and we went into detail with all these items of recommendations of things you can do on how to do this, different techniques. And again, it's on the ebook, and you can access it. If you want us to email it to you, we'll do that too. All right, so how to reduce security deposit disputes. I left it in better condition than when I moved in. So in America 2.0, so there's industries that they'll probably change forever. Hotels, buffets, many businesses, they'll probably never going to be the same for at least some time. And property management has changes that are adapting as well. And so in order to look at what has changed, we want to look back. So 100 years ago, property management, it was obviously much different than it is today. Safety standards were not the same. Renters lacked protection, and the industry as a whole was much less governed. And so this is a picture of the Antwerp building. It was completed in 1908. It's still standing today, actively in New York City. Inventory forms, originally they started back in the early 1900s. And so the first forms, they were printed using typewriters and old-fashioned technology. And technology, it's traditionally, it's always been necessary for inventory forms to be handwritten. And so typewriters ruled, and there was usually one per office, and there was usually one office admin that prepared all the forms and leases that were being signed. So, moving inventory forms, they traditionally have always been around with paper, ink, and they've always required the resident signatures, and so that we've always had worked off hard copies. But the interesting thing is that even till this day, from 100 years ago, the majority of property managers are still using traditional inventory forms. So this same method of 100 years ago is still being used today. And so this is an outdated method that it actually needs to cease. And the reason why is because it does not protect the owner or the property manager. So even though typewriters have gone obsolete and we have sophisticated accounting software like PROMAS, this same method of 100 years ago is still primarily being used as the inventory method. So we need to look at changing this, or you need to consider changing this. And there's two reasons why you can digitize the inventory process. That one, it reduces security deposit disputes, and one, it reduces risk. So if we don't change this method, then this can continue to lead to disputes, And disputes can lead to the following, which is phone calls, for security deposit disputes. Those can be draining. Reviews, the majority of the negative reviews pertaining to security deposit disputes that's primarily what they are. They all pertain more to deposit refunds. Incoming traffic that you have, they're looking at your reviews online. Many residents that currently live in your long-term rentals, they do not always realize how damages can occur beyond reasonable wear and tear after they've been there for some time. So how do we solve this? And so, to see how we solve this, we need to look at what the traditional process looks like. And the tenant, obviously it's a handwritten form. There's no photo documentation, and the tenant can fill this out and they say stains, scratches, holes, rust, dirty, needs clean. So these are all adjectives that describe property conditions. So the issue here is there's no photo documentation to reinforce the validity of the descriptions. Okay. But when you add photo documentation coming directly from the tenant, it changes the story. And when there's no photo documentation attached to the tenant's inventory, then there's a lack of accountability of the actual property condition from when they took possession. And this can lead to disputes of the actual condition from when they moved in. And when property managers are required to deduct the proper amount of the security deposit to cover damages, this can lead to phone calls for the security deposit dispute, which can be draining. And so we want you to save your energy. And we want you to limit your risk. We want you to digitize the move-in inventory process. So property managers are taking advantage of the ability to be able to digitize the inventory process to help reduce security deposit disputes. And so by doing this, you can help eliminate unnecessary tenant traffic, since assigning and receiving resident inventory forms can be done online. So the way this looks is tenant, they move in, they log into the app, and it's branded to your company. And as they mark deficiencies, they're given a prompt message notifying them to include a photo. And so this results in requiring photo documentation for their inventory form. And when they're done, no trips to the office are required by either party. So when they're finished, you receive an email notification of the inventory and condition form. It looks like this. And so traditionally, they would need to deliver this form, but when you're processing anywhere from 50 to 5, or just depending on how big your office is, when you're doing this on a monthly basis, this is all unnecessary tenant traffic, and this can all be eliminated. So this tenant traffic absorbs staff's resources to be answering additional calls, answering questions. And so when this entire process is automated and digitized, it alleviates the resources to have to print, deliver, receive, and file excess paperwork. So when you upgrade this old process, you eliminate the risk for physical contact. And the way it works is you just click on the email. It'll take you directly to the link to the inventory form, and you have all the photos displayed in the proper item in the area. And you could just click on those photos and scroll through, whether for landscape or portrait, depending on when they're taken. Zoom up, download the photos directly from there. And this is how really an inventory form should be able to be viewed. And it's going to put their signature at the bottom there. So when doing this, it accomplishes both the reducing security deposit disputes and reduces risk. So in summary, problems that we help to solve is: one, we digitize the inspection process to help you with that. We help you to implement e-signature technology to limit risk. We can help you with the move-in, move-out reports system by comparing side by side and highlighting all the deficiencies in yellow, automating that system for security deposit returns. We can help you provide virtual showings, again, so you can limit risk, and helping you to increase your capabilities to charge inspections to help increase your bottom line and revenue. Also help reduce tenant traffic and reduce security deposit disputes. So you can, if somebody came to you and said, hey, how much does this cost? Could you eliminate all these problems and alleviate a lot of their additional resources? And it would just be just over $500 a year for a single user plan. And yes, I hope you would feel the same way, that it is worth it. It's only $49 a month starting and $529 annually. And I hope that you take a look at a trial and consider seeing if it's a good fit for your business. So with that, again, I'm Gilbert Quinones, with CEO of Inspecting Cloud, co-founder, and I appreciate your time here. Your job as a property manager, whether if you are a staff or the broker of your business, it's more important than ever right now. And so these are times that require professional services. And so whether if you're just providing digital services or just the ability to alleviate owners from having to meet people at the properties and expose themselves, property management is more valuable than ever. And the responsibilities that have empowered in your leadership, it's more important than ever. And so with leadership, it has its challenges, and sometimes it's about having uncomfortable conversations. But I hope you continue to expand your services and resources so that you can serve the public at a higher purpose, so that these times will always be remembered for the dedication you have provided as a property manager. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for your attendance. Reach out to us. Let us know if we can help you. Thank you.